if you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
That's why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
But why can't you say when Democrats are wrong?
Moments ago on The View, Charlamagne Tha God. Why do we have to call him that? What's his real name? This nationally syndicated radio host who tries to put himself out there as the spokesperson for young Black America. He appeared on The View, and the subject of hypocrisy with Joe Biden's Hunter Biden pardon came up. And then a throwdown happened with Whoopi Goldberg on one side, Sonny Hostin on the other, and they were all going against Charlamagne. But he held his own. Let's take a look.
Let me ask you something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, you know, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, you know, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, you know, whether or not, you know, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy and they were saying that, you know, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him, that's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, oh, you know, nobody's above the law, I respect, you know, the jury's decision in regards to my son. He didn't believe that, but he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
All right, now Whoopi Goldberg is going to jump in here for a second and start fighting with him about this. And listen, this is an argument that they've been having earlier this week. We've already discussed, but I just want to emphasize something that Charlamagne does, because he is 100% right there. We talked about this all during this past year's presidential campaign. When Biden was running for president and when Kamala Harris was running for president, the last thing they did, the thing they never did, the thing that was completely absent from their campaigns was standing in front of the American people saying, I have a great track record. The last 4 years have been fantastic. The economy is humming along. National security has never been better. The border is secure. Crime is down everywhere. And we have great respect and standing in world affairs as there's peace and prosperity in our time. See, they never said any of that. They couldn't say anything like that. They couldn't say that the economy was great. They couldn't say that America was more prosperous. They couldn't say that they had even brought peace and unity and healed the nation after divisive years. You know, all that stuff that they said they were going to do. They couldn't say any of that. They had a horrible record to run on. They couldn't make the case as to why you should vote for them. All they could do was say, Trump is awful. Trump is a felon. Trump is a criminal. Trump is a racist. Trump is a sexist. Trump is a fascist, and he's Hitler, right? The entire campaign was attacking Donald Trump. And as they attacked Donald Trump, especially with the lawfare, especially with the 37 felony convictions and all of that crap, they had to also preen. They also had to sanctimoniously said, no one is above the law. We are Democrats and we respect the rule of law. That's what makes us different. If for nothing else, vote for us because we embrace the rule of law and the sanctity of the Justice Department. It is pristine and it is perfect. Trump is trashing it and saying that it's politicized, but it's not. In fact, we are so pristine and we have such a respect for the law that even with Hunter Biden's legal problems, Joe Biden will not use his pardon power to get him off the hook because that's how much we respect the rule of law. Now, all Charlamagne just said there was, listen, all he had to do was say nothing. He didn't have to say anything about a pardon, but no. He stood up there and act holier than thou, and he says, this is who we are. This is what makes us different. That's the crux of his argument, and he's 100% right. Now, listen to Whoopi Goldberg. Watch her completely miss the point and equivocate all of it and basically prove the point. Because her entire argument is, well, they're corrupt, so it's about time we did it too. Watch.
Stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a
No,
sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do that.
We're mad at him because he changed his.
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning Hunter Biden.
But you sound like you're mad.
No.
If I can get in on this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions and the impartiality of the Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. The same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Can you explain to me why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls? He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
Criticized Donald Trump.
Well, again, I hate to repeat myself, but apparently it needs to be repeated. You know, how come when Joe does this, everyone gets upset, but when Trump does it, it's okay? Well, you have literally spent the last 8 years screaming at the top of your lungs that Trump is a corrupt fascist criminal. And all Joe Biden has now just done is said, well, yeah, me too. And you seem to be fine with it. Why is that hard for her to understand? Well, I'll tell you why it's hard for her to understand. Because if you go back and watch what she just said, the entire basis and foundation of her morality was revealed. She said, you know, you're walking the straight and narrow and everybody else is getting away with it. So you kind of understand why they go ahead and break the rules too. Well, that's an incredible view of morality. First of all, it's completely warped and a lie because Joe Biden is a career crooked politician. It just so happens that his son got caught with his hand in the cookie jar this one time. There's a reason why that pardon goes all the way back to 2014, right? But let's buy the premise for a second. Let's accept it. That Joe Biden has been pure as the virgin, pristine snow for the last 50 years. And finally, after seeing Donald Trump and Republicans get away with it, he decided he wanted to get away with it too. Well, is that morality? Is it really? Is that what you say to your kids? Kids, I don't want you stealing. All right? It not only is it against the law, but it's against the 10 Commandments. And even if you can get away with it, even if no one's watching, well, God is watching. And that's why you don't do it. Because it's an offense, and it's an offense to the Lord. So don't do it. See, that's morality. But what Whoopi Goldberg just articulated, what she would tell her kid is, all right, if you're at the store and everyone's shoplifting and they all get away with it, you can go ahead and shoplift too. Because you shouldn't be the only one who follows the rules. That's her morality. And when you understand, as she just articulated, that is her perspective, her worldview on morality, then everything else makes sense, I suppose. All right, let's see this go out because they actually get pretty nasty here. Let's watch.
More than me or Charlamagne Tha God.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm not delusional. Well, no, that is delusional. But when it comes... But when it comes to political parties, if you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
That's why I'm an independent.
Yes, but that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
Why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are
wrong.
So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I don't. And can I just point this out to you? The president has a pardon power, right?
So we're going to let Sonny Hostin jump in here, but this is an interesting commentary on the media too, and I do want to chime in. It's funny. I feel like I do. In fact, I just criticized Republicans. Just now, I criticized Joni Ernst and Lindsey Graham, and I criticized Republican senators who are backing off of Pete Hegseth right now, considering the stuff that's in their closets and things like that. I think, but this comes up all the time, and it's completely disingenuous. Listen, we all do our shows, and I don't hold it against The View that they're all completely lock solid in favor of defending anything a Democrat does and spend all their time just attacking Republicans. If they decided that that's how they get ratings and that's how they can sell advertising, fine. God bless them. Just maybe you should change the show from The View. Well, actually, I guess it is an appropriate name because there's only one view allowed at that table. But stop pretending like they've got, multiple perspectives on things. That is the disingenuousness of it that I don't like. But this is a canard. This whole thing is like, well, if you were really honest, you'd spend as much time criticizing one side as you do criticizing the other. For people who are just getting to know me or don't know me, I came into this world because of the late, great Andrew Breitbart. There he is, always looking over my shoulder. You need to read his book, Righteous Indignation. It's a fantastic book. That's how I got here. Andrew Breitbart brought me into this world about 15 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since, writing and radio and video streaming, etc. And Andrew always used to get faced with that. Why your site is just criticizing Democrats and liberals all the time? Why do you do that all the time? Why do you do it all the time? And he would say, there are hundreds of websites that do nothing but attack Republicans. ABC, CBS, and NBC do nothing but attack Republicans and defend Democrats. MSNBC and CNN do nothing but defend Democrats and attack Republicans. Fox News, sadly, spent a lot of their time attacking Republicans, or at least the Republicans that don't fit into their club. The Washington Post, the New York Times, on and on and on and on. Every single late night television show and comedy show, Saturday Night Live, every single major pop culture media outlet, all of academia except for Hillsdale College, major sports leagues now. That you can go on and on and on. Every single major institution in America attacks Republicans and defends Democrats and leftist ideology. As Rush Limbaugh used to say, we don't need to provide equal time. We are equal time. So it's a canard to jump up there and say, well, unless you attack both sides equally, you're just as corrupt as everybody else. I'd love to hold his radio show, by the way, up to that standard. So I just wanted to interject and say, listen, if The View wants to be who they are, let The View be who they are. My argument is not with The View, by the way. My argument was with ABC News and all of the affiliate stations that have broadcast licenses through the FCC where they're supposed to provide equal time, and they never do. That's the real problem. All right, let's let Sonny host him make the final argument here, because I love seeing them all fight amongst themselves.
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg. Yeah, I would never. I said that. I just think that.
Think about it. Think about it this way. Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right? Yeah. And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power, to pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because I'm not in
the moral high ground. Like, what's the faux outrage?
Neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like, it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it. We watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be objective and call it what it is?
Because it's not balanced. It's not the same. Oh, wait, there's more. There's more. We got to go. We're coming right back.
You're right. It's not balanced. It's certainly not balanced in the media, and I'll give you that. It's really amazing that Sonny Hostin said, well, maybe you can think of it this way. In other words, maybe you can spin it the way I'm about to spin it. And the spin, of course, is that Donald Trump's going to come in here and he's going to weaponize the Justice Department. as if it's not weaponized right now in one direction. He's going to weaponize the Justice Department, and they're going to come after me, and they're going to come after my son, and they're going to come after my family. So I have to give him a pardon because Trump's about to attack him unfairly and politically and ruin his life just because he's my son, which is a compelling argument that Sonny Hostin just made. Here's the biggest problem with it. Even Joe Biden didn't make that argument. In his letter explaining his pardon, he said that it was the current Justice Department that was politicized. It was the current Justice Department and Merrick Garland and David Weiss, the U.S. attorney out of Delaware, who went after his son politically because his last name was Biden. He didn't make the case that this is a prophylactic against Trump coming in. He said that he's already been attacked by the current Justice Department. He also said, by the way, that he was pardoning him because of the tax and gun laws, because he was intoxicated and abusing substances at the time. One problem with that, the plea deal that Hunter Biden signed on the tax fraud charges that he pled guilty to, he maintained in writing to a court of law that he was actually clean and sober, and he wasn't affected by drugs or alcohol when he cheated on his taxes. So we still have to get a resolution on that. It doesn't matter, though, because he's got his pardon. And boy, oh boy, Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg and the ladies at The View, they're going to keep defending Joe for doing this no matter what, even against a friendly like Charlamagne. They're going to defend him to their dying day. They're even offering defenses Joe Biden won't offer. Man, I wish I had friends like that. I want you to open an IRA in gold with Birch Gold. And if you do, you'll get free silver shipped directly to your home. That's right, free silver. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And it's the only time of the year that Birch Gold gives away a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. And the best part is, well, you don't actually have to pay a penny out of pocket. All you need to do is simply convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And then Birch Gold will send you free silver coins directly to your home. Now, you might be thinking, why do I need to diversify to gold? Hey, my guy's headed to D.C. He's going to be in the White House for 4 years. Everything's fine. Well, the fact is, an administration trying to reverse a $36 trillion national debt in just 4 years, it's not easy. You think about that old legend of pushing the boulder up the hill. Yeah, it's going to take a while. So we have a huge amount to pay just on the interest alone, not to mention the principal. Take action now. Text Larry to 989898 before December 18th and get a free info kit on gold and claim your eligibility for free silver on qualifying purchases from Birch Gold. Do this before December 18th. Again, text Larry to 989898 for peace of mind that lasts longer than just 4 years.